What us Star Wars fans have been clamoring for is finally here, the first official trailer for Season 2 of Andor, and it appears like it's going to be everything I could have hoped for. Mandalore! Now, I am going to start off by saying that I am one of those fans that felt that Season 1 of Andor's pacing was a little slow. And I completely understand that Season 1 covered 1 year of Andor's life, so that way the creators could build up Cassian's character more. And that was absolutely one of the largest complaints by people about Rogue One. People asked why should they care about these characters and how did they change so quickly within 2 weeks. And honestly, this isn't a criticism I shared in. I thought the character development worked in Rogue One. But do I think Season 1 of Andor is bad because of the slow pacing? Absolutely not. I thought the series was good overall, and I think it's one of the best series we've had from Star Wars so far. I just felt at times there were some lulls in the storytelling, almost like certain parts of the story were dragged out too long. And as strange as this sounds, I wanted more of the nitty-gritty in the creation of the Rebel Alliance. Maybe more Saw Gerrera scenes, maybe more secret meetings, maybe a little bit more action, and I really want a Garm Bell Iblis appearance. And really probably the only reason I had pacing issues was waiting week to week for the next episode. I definitely feel that the show is much better binged, and it definitely feels like that Lucasfilm felt the same way because the series is going to have 12 episodes, and these 12 episodes will be split up in 4 arcs with 3 episodes an arc, and each of these arcs will air over 4 weeks. So we are only going to have 4 weeks of Andor Season 2, which is kind of crazy. And based off this trailer, it seems like Season 2 of Andor is going to make all my wants a reality, except for the Bell Iblis sighting. Because holy smokes, this trailer is jam-packed. The trailer begins with The Revolution Starts Now by Steve Earle, and I know a lot of fans have felt that the music is off-putting, saying that this music choice should not be in a Star Wars trailer. Overall, the trailer is incredible, and I have to agree the music is a little jarring to hear with Star Wars footage. I think it would have been really cool if they would have translated the song into Huttese like they did with the trailer music in Skeleton Crew, or maybe even Mandoa. You know, Galactic Basic just doesn't quite work. So at the beginning of the trailer, we see Andor wearing what appears to be more aristocratic clothing on what appears to be a wealthy planet, and this makes sense since it's probably the planet Gorman. And Gorman is going to play a pivotal role in the Galactic Civil War because Gorman is the site of the Gorman Massacre, which was a peaceful gathering protesting imperial oppression. But by orders of the Emperor, Moff Wilhuff Tarkin was ordered to put an end to dissent and slaughtered thousands, which is why we see these stormtroopers firing upon civilians, and this aggression caused Mon Mothma to call for open rebellion. Next we see Andor walking through a clean, curving hallway which does not appear to be of Imperial design, and I don't think there is any association to the Empire by how Cassian is dressed. I've seen some speculation of this being Tantis or Kaminoan in design, but I think these are both incorrect. I would say Kaminoan rooms and hallways are a lot brighter, a lot wider, but this does look amphibian in design. I'm kind of leaning towards Mon Cala. We then see Bix shooting an Imperial Navy trooper, and then we cut to Andor walking through Yavin Base, and I think this is going to be towards the end of the series, maybe even the final scene. Next we see Cassian giving a motivational speech to who appears to be Melshi, while Cassian is wearing what appears to be a TIE Baron flight suit. Now why would Cassian need a TIE Baron flight suit? Well, it's because Barons were the best of the Empire's fighter pilots, so they would have access to fly the best starfighters available, even experimental fighters, something we might see later. Next we see Wilman running away from stormtroopers in a wheat field, and there's a lot of speculation that this planet is Dantooine, but I don't think it is since the Empire didn't know about it, and clearly they are now attacking this planet, and to me this looks more like Lothal, or this could be Genji Moon, which is the last place Bix was heading. And on the same planet we now see Andor flying the experimental fighter and firing what I would assume are concussion missiles and destroying a K-79 S-80 prisoner transport, which was first a Kenner toy originally, but later made its first appearance in Star Wars Rebels. And then we cut to Saw Gerrera, and he's wearing his breathing apparatus. He's looking more similar to how he looked in Rogue One. We then see Mon Mothma at what everybody is speculating to be her daughter's wedding, and she doesn't seem very happy to see somebody who might have just arrived. We get our first look at Lutheran in season 2, and then we have Bix and Andor blowing up a building on what I think is Coruscant, and Bix looks pissed. I think she is going to align more with Saw Gerrera's extremists so that she can get revenge against the Empire for torturing her, and I guess killing her boyfriend. And we officially have Orson Krennic, and I think this should have been left as a surprise personally, but he's overlooking the near completion of the Death Star, which at this point is only missing its super laser. Next we see T-65B X-Wings being flown by Cavern Squadron, which is the squadron flown under Saw Gerrera's partisans, and they are flanking what appears to be a YV-865 Aurora class freighter, and I believe that this planet is actually Dantooine. Now back on Gorman, we see Cassian holding what appears to be a rifle version of his Briar pistol, and I think this is a homage to Dark Forces and Kyle Katarn because originally the Briar pistol was a sawed-off Briar rifle, and this shot of Andor is then followed by an explosion taking out stormtroopers, and I think Saw Gerrera had something to do with this peaceful protest becoming a war zone, and causing the slaughter was his way of creating his own spark of the rebellion. We then see Andor arguing with someone I believe is Clea. Originally I first thought it was his sister, and I just gotta say the storyline where Andor is looking for his sister kind of disappeared in season 1, so hopefully we get back to that in season 2. We then have Brasso being held by stormtroopers on that wheat planet, and then we get one of the most interesting scenes in the trailer, an elite squad wearing minimal stormtrooper armor and wearing Imperial Army hats and goggles. Now to me these seem like death troopers who were originally on a covert mission. I'm pretty excited to see who these guys are though. We then get our first look at Deidre wearing her ISB uniform, and she doesn't seem to be having a good day. And then we finally get to see who Mon Mothma was not happy about seeing at her daughter's wedding, and that was Krennic. And in the background we see Davi Skolden, whose son Mon Mothma's daughter is marrying, since him and Mon Mothma had a deal that if the two got married, he would agree to launder her funds for the rebellion. And finally we get to my favorite scene, Cassian mowing down stormtroopers in a stolen experimental TIE Advance, which was called a TIE Avenger, which everyone keeps mistakenly call a TIE Interceptor, and this is the whole reason why he had the Baron flight suit on. And apparently on Chandrila they just have festivals for weddings. We then see Cavern Squadron following the Aurora class freighter into hyperspace, and this is reminiscent of the Rebel fleet exiting hyperspace in Rogue One. We see Mon Mothma and her husband entering what is probably an Imperial ball on Coruscant, and we finally see K2SO. I'm really excited to see how K2SO gets reprogrammed. I kind of have an inkling on how this is going to happen. I'd like to make a whole video on my prediction. We'll see what happens. Next, these are probably the same stormtroopers prior to getting mowed down. We then cut to Cassian dropping from the TIE Advance and embracing Bix. This is probably the first time they're reunited after the whole fiasco on their home planet. We see Imperial Army and riot gear, and then the same maintenance speeder from earlier that was Ioned. And then we get our first look at Cyril, and he doesn't look to be an ISB agent yet. And we get more of Gorman, and it appears like Melshi is there because he's taking cover on a fountain that's of the same architecture. Now it seems like the party that Mon Mothma and her husband attended is going to become a hostage situation because this is absolutely the same suite. We get Cassian for stealing and learning to fly the TIE, and we get more of Gamoran, and it looks like a sonic weapon is being fired, the same kind that the Geonosins used. We see Cyril's mom probably telling Cyril to have more confidence in himself, and the trailer ends with the Saw looking more like the Saw we saw in Rogue One, which is interesting because every arc we are going to see of Saw, he is going to resemble more and more like a droid and less of a man, which I think is so interesting because it shows him sacrificing who he was for the rebellion. Now I just got to apologize for the lack of content. I just moved. It's been crazy unpacking just tons and tons of stuff. So please like this video and subscribe if you want more Star Wars. I'll be more consistent, I promise. I'm so excited for season 2 of Andor. I hope you are also, and have a great day, everybody.